Good evening. Tonight we begin our celebration of an anniversary, a birthday, a tribute to tenacity and determination, to creativity and artistry in the world of storytelling. For the past 20 years, the Spotlight magazine, published by Seacoast Media Group, has annually acknowledged the artistic best within the New Hampshire Seacoast area. In recognizing the excellence of contributions made to our region's visual arts, culinary arts, music, and theater, the Spotlight on the Arts Award is presented in tribute to those who have excelled in their individual disciplines over the past year. Since its beginning in 1994, the Spotlight Awards have honored hundreds of talented individuals whose passion for their art has allowed us to see ourselves in a new and different light. They've challenged our imaginations, inspired our hearts, given us the comfort of understanding, and enriched our souls. Tonight, PPM TV and Seacoast Media Group presents the nominations for the 20th Annual Spotlight on the Arts Awards. We will recognize the work of hundreds of artists during the year of 2013 and present for your consideration those whose work commands individual acknowledgement. To announce the Spotlight on the Arts Award nominations in the visual arts categories, please welcome jury head Janae McCartan and jurors Christopher Cowell and Chris Pothier.
As artists, we are charged with the responsibility of chronicling life's experiences through our various disciplines. The visual arts capture in a physical form the impressions of the artist, which resonate uniquely with each of us. The jury panel is missing a few members tonight, but we'd like to express our appreciation to Chris Dwyer, Jackie Abramian, Steve Bowersock, and Mary Ellen Burke, who unfortunately couldn't be with us. Tonight, we are delighted to present the nominees for the 2013 Spotlight on the Arts Award in Visual Arts.
The nominations in visual arts for two-dimensional paintings, drawings, printmaking, or mixed media are Stacy Durand, Patricia Kaufman, Jeremy Miranda, Lisa Nunes, and Christopher Volpe.
In the discipline for photography, film and digital media, the nominees are Philip Case Cohen, Bear Kirkpatrick, David Murray, and Alexander DeSteiger.
The nominations for Outstanding Illustration include Rebecca Emberley, Robert Squire, Matt Talbot, and Terry Widener. The work of the functional artist includes highly crafted works that serve our daily needs. This year's nominations include the disciplines of pottery, glass art, felt making, and silk painting. The nominations are Maureen Mills, Michael Stanek, Diane Stradling, and Susan Wiersbach.
Under the visual arts category, this year's final discipline includes Best Mural, Sculpture, Installation, or Assemblage. The nominations go to Lauren Gillette, Antoinette Preen Schultz, Gary Haven-Smith, and Don Williams.
Being a part of the visual arts jury for the 2013 Spotlight Award has given us all a great insight into the skill, craft, and passion of these amazing artists. Our panel of judges would like to congratulate all of the nominees, and we would like to thank the entire visual arts community for allowing us to experience the stories you tell through your work.
Each year, the People's Choice for favorite visual artist consists of those whose work has stood out as nominated in the various jury disciplines. Here now is that final listing. You can participate in the People's Choice voting process by going to www.seacoastonline.com. Votes in all of the People's Choice categories will be accepted through April 11th. Be a part of the Spotlight Awards and cast your vote at www.seacoastonline.com. Some of the most artful stories that are told on the Seacoast are those that come through the culinary arts. Here now to present the nominations in this most tasteful discipline, the Culinary Arts Jury, headed by Rachel Forrest.
Greetings from my satellite digs in Austin. Sorry I can't be with you in person to present the Best Chef jury and the nominees this year, but thanks to the wonders of technology, I'm on the Skype. I look forward to seeing you all in person at the awards on April 23rd. We have a wonderful team of judges this year, including our past Best Chef winners and our terrific area food writers. They've been dining out in our great restaurants all year and are experts on the food and talent in our Seacoast restaurants. The judges for this year's awards are Jean Kerr, publisher of Northeast Flavor magazine, Susan Tuvison, who owns Acorn Kitchen in Kittery, Allie Goodwin, aka Gal Foodie, Denise Landis, cookbook author and New York Times food writer, cookbook author Kathy Gunst, Chef Evan Mallett, Chef Greg Sessler, Chef Ben Hasty, Chef Jake Smith, and me, I'm Rachel Forrest, the food writer for the Portsmouth Herald. We've enjoyed so much delicious food this past year, and we're really excited about all the new ideas coming out of the minds and the kitchens of these great chefs, which results in amazing food on our tables. We had a tough time choosing our 5 finalists, but we managed. So let me tell you about these nominees. We have Matt Lewis, executive chef and owner, Moxie Restaurant in Portsmouth. Chef Evan Hennessy, chef owner, Stages at One Washington in Dover. Mark Siegel, executive chef at Demeter's in Portsmouth. Lauren Crosby, pastry chef, Black Trumpet Bistro, Portsmouth. And finally, Jethro Lockley, executive chef, Ristorante Massimo in Portsmouth. Congratulations to all these wonderful chefs, and we'll see you on April 23rd to find out the winner.
Here now are the nominations for the People's Choice in Culinary Arts. Remember, the online voting is open now through April 11th, so be sure to get your vote in at www.seacoastonline.com. The Seacoast music scene is vast, emerging, energetic, and continually changing. It's a fascinating ride. And here now to present the nominations for the Spotlight on the Arts Music Awards, co-chairs Chris Hislop and Russ Grazier, plus their collective jury.
The Spotlight Music Jury, consisting of musicians, recording artists, and fans, has spent the past year listening to music, attending music, talking music, and experiencing the stories these artists have to tell.
The music jury is made up of Nicole St. Laurent, Chris Hislop, Denise Wheeler, Nate Hastings, Jason Boucher, Mairead Dunphy, Bruce Pingree, Ezra Cohen, and myself, Russ Grazier.
It was our task and pleasure to work through the enormous pool of musical talent here on the Seacoast and present to you the following list of nominations. In the category of Best Album, the nominations are Joe Young, Old Hope, Clara Berry and Wool Dog, The Magician's Wife, 5813, Faulting and Uplift, B.A. Canning, Normal Life, Tan Vampires, Ephemera. To present the category of Song of the Year, Denise Wheeler and Nate Hastings.
The nominations for Song of the Year are
The Screen, The Art of Taking Life.
One Hand Free, Mend.
Tan Vampires, Into the West.
Clara Berry and Wool Dog, Air Traffic.
B.A. Canning, Ode and Burgeonings.
Alcoa, Keep Track, Lose Track.
Soggy Po Boys, Lady Be Good.
Jim Dozette, Monster.
Joe Young, Get It Right.
Peter Squires, Bummer's Lament, featuring Maura Flynn.
Congratulations to you all, and now here to present the award for Best Electronic, Instrumental, Jazz, or Ambient, Jason Boucher and Mairead Dunphy.
It's an eclectic grouping of sounds, but the stories the music tells are powerful. The nominations for Best Electronic, Instrumental, Jazz, or Ambient are
5813,
Jazz Putin,
Amaranouche,
Rothwell,
and Groove Lounge. An amazing lot of talent. It's our pleasure to have spent the year listening to their great work. Now to present the nominations for Best Rock, here are Bruce Pingree and Nicole St. Laurent.
Every year, this category gets harder and harder to confine. Not that we'd want to, it just gets better. The nominations for Best Rock are
Super Machine,
Erotic City Electric Blues Band,
Shades of Rust,
Dreadnought.
and The Screen.
Presenting the nominations for Best Indie, here's Chris Hislop.
The category of indie features artists of independence, a unique breed that stands out and stands alone in their own style. The nominations are The Tan Vampires, Alcoa, Clara Berry and Wool Dog, Heads and Tails, and Howling Boyle. Now back to Russ for Best Pop Punk.
In the category of Best Pop Punk, the Spotlight nominations are Hard Knoxbury, Pale Wallace, Peter Squires, The Connection, and The Cryptics. The next category is Roots World Americana, and to present, here's Nicole St. Laurent and Mairead Dunphy.
In the category of Roots World Americana, the nominations are
Carol Coronis,
Whiskey Kill,
B.A. Canning,
Hilton Park,
Soggy Po Boys. And now to Russ and Chris for the final category.
Our final category this year, Best Singer-Songwriter. Here are the nominees.
Joe Young,
How do you know that?
John Nolan, Zach Tremblay, Jim Dozette, Guy Capisolatro.
The music jury wants to thank everyone on the Seacoast, whoever listens to music, plays music, or attends live music shows, for giving us the pleasure to honor these unique solos and groups.
And on behalf of the entire music jury, our appreciation to all the musicians for sharing their stories with all of us.
Your support for the Spotlight on the Arts Awards is what determines the winner of the People's Choice Award for Favorite Musician or Band. And here now are the nominations in that category. As you read through the nominated names for People's Choice, Favorite Musician or Band, remember you can vote your choice at www.seacoastonline.com right up until April 11th. The Spotlight on the Arts Awards will be presented at the Music Hall the evening of Wednesday, April 23rd, beginning at 7 p.m. The doors will open at 6. The art of storytelling is seen through the lens of visual arts, culinary arts, music, and through our last category, the world of theater. Here again to present the nominations in live performance, Janae McCartan and members of the theater jury.
It was an amazing year to view live theater in the Seacoast region, and the folks with me here, judges in the theater categories, spent more than 100 and in excess of 200 hours attending, assessing, and collaborating over the past year in order to arrive at our final listing of nominees in the discipline of theater for the 2013 production year. With me are Jessica Michaud, Joel Playgens, and Robert Squire. And others on our panels who could not be with us tonight are Diane Berenger, Peggy McCarthy, and Nancy Pearson. Our first category is the Best Original Shorts, and the nominees are Great Gaskell for King of the Road, produced by Darwin's Waiting Room, Love and Him and Me, produced by Back Alley Productions, Paul Henry Wade and Evening Broadcast, all presented at the Players Ring, Jacqueline Benson for Force of Love and Love, produced by Back Alley Productions, Echo, Evening Broadcast, and The Morning After, produced by Back Alley Productions, also all presented at the Players Ring. Roland Goodbody for Giving the Game Away and A Woman on a Train from his one-man show in a pair of his own shorts, both produced and presented at Act One. Now to present the nominees for Best Supporting Actor in a Play, here's Jessica Michaud.
In the category of Best Supporting Actor in a Play, the nominees are Jamie Bradley as Father in A Christmas Story at Seacoast Repertory Theater, Eric St. Cyr as Marine Lance Corporal Daniels in Make Sure It's Me at Act One, and as Lord in Eurydice at the Players Ring, Andy Fling as Dr. Astroff in Uncle Vanya in Maine, Kent Stevens Stage Force, the Star Theater, Jay Roger as Booley in Driving Miss Daisy at Hackmatack Playhouse, Ryan Salvato as Macduff in Macbeth at Phylloxera Productions at the Players Ring. And now in the category of Best Supporting Actress in a Play, the nominees are Leslie Hamblin as Bridie in Black Mayo at the Players Ring, and multiple roles in As You Like It for Theater Unmasked, Becky Rudolph as Sophia, Uncle Vanya in Maine, Kent Stevens Stage Force at the Star Theater, Constance Whitman as Lady Macbeth in Macbeth for Phylloxera Productions at the Players Ring. And now Robert Squire will present the nominations in the category of Best Actor in a Play.
The nominations for Best Actor in a Play are Roland Goodbody, portraying himself in his own project titled In a Pair of His Shorts for Act One and presented at West End Studio Theater. Peter Josephson as Father in 6 Characters in Search of an Author for New Hampshire Theater Project and presented at West End Studio Theater. C.J. Lewis as The Cottage in Cape May, Kent Stevens Stage Force, the Star Theater. And Christopher Savage as Uncle Peck in How I Learned to Drive at the Players Ring. And now, the nominations for Best Actress in a Play. Whitney Smith as Rosie in Kate May for Ken Stevens' Stage Force at the Star Theater, and as Moira in Black Mayo at the Players Ring. Gabriella Archambault as the stepdaughter in 6 Characters in Search of an Author for New Hampshire Theatre Project at West End Studio Theatre. Jess Miller as Little Bit in How I Learned to Drive, and as Sally in Lie of Mind for Troubert and 2046 Productions, both at the Players Ring. Kathy Somsich as Ruth in Blithe Spirit for New Hampshire Theatre Project. Amy Blessing as Rosalind in As You Like It for Theatre Unmasked. Before we continue with the nominations for Best Supporting Actor in a Musical, here's a look at the nominees for People's Choice Favorite Musical.
As you read through the nominated names for the People's Choice in Theater, remember you can vote your choice at www.seacoastonline.com right up until April 11th. Spotlight on the Arts Awards will be presented at the Historic Music Hall the evening of April 23rd, beginning at 7 p.m., and the doors will open at 6. Be sure to get your vote in before the 11th. Continuing on with the nominations for Best Supporting Actor in a Musical, here is Joel Plagins.
Here now are the nominations for the category of Best Supporting Actor in a Musical. Nate Higgins as Tobias in Sweeney Todd for Seacoast Repertory Theatre. Joshua Paul Moore as Donkey in Shrek at Rochester Opera House. Tim Allen as Farquaad in Shrek at Rochester Opera House. Chris Bradley as Judge Turpin in Sweeney Todd at Seacoast Repertory Theatre. Nick Moulton as Marius in Les Miserables for Hackmatack Playhouse. And now nominations for Best Supporting Actress in a Musical. Melissa Silver as Beggar Woman in Sweeney Todd for Seacoast Repertory Theatre. Megan Morash as Cookie in Shrek at Rochester Opera House. Gabrielle Archambault as Grace in Annie at Prescott Park Arts Festival. Breon Kennedy as Eponine in Les Miserables at Hackmatack Playhouse. And now to present the nominations in the category of Best Actor in a Musical, here is Janae McCartan.
For Best Actor in a Musical, the nominations are Tommy Labonaris as Sweeney in Sweeney Todd at Seacoast Repertory Theatre. Alden Capel as Shrek in Shrek at the Rochester Opera House. Scott Capel as Daddy Warbucks in Annie with Prescott Park Arts Festival. Jacob Zentis as Chad in All Shook Up at the Rochester Opera House. The next category is Best Actress in a Musical, and here are the nominations. Christine Dulong as Mrs. Lovett in Sweeney Todd at Seacoast Repertory Theatre. Danica Carlson as Fiona in Shrek, Rochester Opera House. Heidi Gagnon as Natalie in All Shook Up for the Rochester Opera House. Amara Decker as Cosette in Les Miserables at Hackmatack Playhouse. On to the nominations for Best Director of a Play presented by Jessica Michaud.
Storytelling at its best requires that its direction be charted well. Tonight I'm honored to present the nominees for Best Director of a Play. Heather Glenn Wixon for Glengarry Glen Ross at the Rochester Opera House. Kent Stevens for Uncle Vanya in Maine at the Star Theatre. Gary Lark for Invasion from Mars, produced by Phylloxera Productions at the Players Ring. Dan Bolio for Romeo and Juliet, produced by Seven Stages Shakespeare, Prescott Park Arts Festival. Carrying on into Best Director of a Musical, the nominees are Steve Small for All Shook Up at the Rochester Opera House, Craig Faulkner for Sweeney Todd at Seacoast Repertory Theatre, Mary Tracchione for Les Mis at Hackmatack Playhouse, Kelly Leanne Connors for Shrek at the Rochester Opera House. Having taken direction, the team of players have but to work together to bring the truth of the story alive. Joel Plagans will present the nominees for Ensemble in a Play.
The nominations for Best Ensemble in a Play are Seascape with Sharks and Dancer, produced by Strangers at Home Theatre Company, performed at West End Studio Theatre. Invasion from Mars, produced by Phylloxera Productions, performed at the Players Ring. Glengarry Glen Ross, performed at the Rochester Opera House. Last Train to Nibrock, produced by Act One, performed at West End Studio Theatre. Continuing on to the Best Ensemble in a Musical, the nominees are The Mystery of the Murder on the Muppet Show, The Governor's Inn. 1776, Garrison Players. You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, Seacoast Repertory Theatre. Stories grow from passions of a wide variety. When the story is fresh, original, and personal, that passion comes from the heart. With the nominations for Best Original Script, Robert Squire.
And the nominees are Cape May by Patricia Lynch, Duck and Cover by Michael Kimball, Invasion from Mars by Gary Locke. And now, with the nominations of Best Play and Best Musical, will be presented by Janae McCartan.
In the category of Best Play, the nominations are Glengarry Glen Ross at the Rochester Opera House, Invasion from Mars by Phylloxera Productions at the Players Ring, Seascape with Sharks and Dancers by Strangers at Home Theatre Company, and Uncle Vanya in Maine by Kent Stevens Stage Force at the Star Theatre. Now for Best Musical, the nominations are Sweeney Todd at the Seacoast Repertory Theatre, All Shook Up at the Rochester Opera House, and A Chorus Line at Seacoast Repertory Theatre. The productions of 2013 represented the works of area finest in theater arts. I can speak for the entire panel of judges in saying we have been honored to experience the stories you tell and passion you've displayed that drives the high value of live theater in the Seacoast. Thank you for allowing us to listen to your stories and be part of your artistry.
34 awards categories, 123 nominees, and that does not even begin to scratch the surface of the talent that was involved in the 2013 Spotlight on the Arts Awards this year. PPM TV is proud to be associated with the Spotlight Awards, and we thank Seacoast Media Group for their support in making the awards possible. It began 20 years ago, and on Wednesday, April 23rd, beginning at 7 p.m., we will transition into the beginning of the 21st year, celebrating the arts on the Seacoast. My thanks to all of the jurors who are here with us tonight. Their task is long and arduous, and the results of their efforts will be revealed at the Spotlight on the Arts presentation, April 23rd at the Historic Music Hall in Portsmouth. Be sure to join us then, as the story of the arts on the Seacoast continues. I'm Bill Humphreys. Thank you, and good night.